In a world built for the average, there exist individuals who defy all statistical norms, pushing the very boundaries of what a human body can be. Sultan Kösen is one such man. Standing an improbable 251 centimeters, or roughly 8 feet 2.8 inches, he quite literally towers over humanity. His existence is less a statistical anomaly and more a walking, talking, skyscraping monument to biology's occasional flights of fancy. It's a height that has earned him global recognition, along with a rather inconvenient list of daily challenges. Some might call it a blessing, others, a truly colossal cosmic joke. Born in 1982 in Mardin, Turkey, Sultan's early years were, by all accounts, unremarkable. He was a regular child, playing with friends, fitting into standard-sized clothing, and experiencing the typical trajectory of early life. There were no immediate prophecies of future giants, no foreshadowing whispers from the universe. For the first decade of his life, Sultan was just Sultan, blissfully unaware that his body was merely biding its time, waiting for a biological switch to flip, initiating an era of unprecedented vertical expansion. The catalyst for Sultan's extraordinary growth was a condition known as pituitary gigantism, or acromegaly, typically triggered by a tumor affecting the pituitary gland. This tiny, pea-sized organ at the base of the brain is the conductor of our hormonal orchestra, including the critical growth hormone. In Sultan's case, this conductor went rogue, instructing his body to grow, and then to grow some more, seemingly without end. It was as if his internal systems had decided that enough was merely a suggestion, not a biological imperative. Around the age of 10, Sultan's growth began to accelerate dramatically. While other boys his age were dealing with voice cracks and awkward shyness, Sultan was navigating an entirely different kind of awkward, outgrowing everything at an alarming rate. His limbs stretched, his frame expanded, and the world began to shrink around him. This rapid, relentless expansion made a typical childhood impossible. Attending school became an insurmountable challenge, as fitting into a desk, or even a classroom, became increasingly difficult. He was simply too big for the standard educational mold. The practicalities of living as the world's tallest man are less about grandeur and more about constant, often frustrating, negotiation. Doorways become duck-unders, car rides a contortionist's nightmare, and finding clothes and shoes a bespoke odyssey. The entire human-made infrastructure, from ceilings to public transport, is designed for the median, an abstract average that Sultan Kösen demonstrably exceeds in every dimension. His daily life is a continuous, often Sisyphean, task of adapting his enormous frame to a stubbornly average-sized world. Despite the myriad challenges, Sultan found purpose and routine in farming, a profession that, in a surprising twist of fate, offered a few unique advantages to his colossal stature. Reaching the highest branches of fruit trees was no problem. He simply plucked them from above. Carrying heavy loads was less strenuous. While his size presented undeniable physical burdens, the earth provided a certain grounding. It was a life of simple labor, a stark contrast to the extraordinary biology unfolding within his own body. The universe, it seemed, still allowed for some practical applications of its grand design. Such rapid and sustained growth inevitably takes an immense toll on the human body. Sultan's joints and bones, not designed for such extreme loads, began to suffer under the relentless strain. Walking became increasingly difficult, often requiring the aid of crutches. His spine curved, his limbs ached, and every step was a testament to his body's struggle against itself. The novelty of his height quickly faded into the stark reality of chronic pain and limited mobility. Being the tallest, it turned out, came with a heavy, physical price tag. In 2009, the world, or at least its official record keepers, finally caught up with Sultan Kösen. Guinness World Records officially recognized him as the tallest living male. This sudden global spotlight transformed him from an anonymous farmer into an international curiosity. The measurements were taken, the photos snapped, and his height, once a private struggle, became a public spectacle. He didn't seek fame. Fame, it seemed, sought him out, drawn by the undeniable magnetism of being the absolute biggest in the room, in any room, anywhere on the planet. Not content with just the overarching title of tallest, Sultan also held records for the largest hands and largest feet. His hands measured a staggering 27.5 centimeters from wrist to fingertip, while his feet stretched to 36.5 centimeters, equating to roughly a US size 28 shoe. These weren't just big, They were profoundly, uniquely enormous, requiring custom-made everything. It was as if his entire being was an exercise in extreme scale, where even the smallest appendages became record-breaking spectacles. The universe truly did not skimp on the details when designing Sultan. For years, Sultan underwent various treatments and surgeries in an attempt to halt the relentless march of his growth. Each procedure was a hopeful gambit, a desperate plea to his own biology to simply stop. The tumor, however, proved stubbornly resilient, a relentless engine of expansion that defied conventional medical interventions. The search for a lasting solution was a grueling marathon of medical consultations, travel, and the ever-present uncertainty of whether his body would ever find a state of equilibrium. His existence became a continuous, unwanted experiment in human endurance. In 2010, a new ray of hope emerged, leading Sultan across an ocean to the University of Virginia Medical Center. There, he underwent gamma knife radiosurgery, a non-invasive procedure designed to precisely target the pituitary tumor with radiation. It was a high-stakes gamble, a cutting-edge approach to a persistent problem. For Sultan, it was more than just a medical procedure. It was the promise of a future where his body might finally, mercifully, cease its ceaseless expansion. The fate of the world's tallest man now rested in the hands of some very clever, and hopefully effective, doctors. The gamma knife treatment, thankfully, proved successful. In 2011, doctors confirmed what Sultan and his family had desperately hoped for. His growth had finally stopped. The tumor was dormant, and the relentless flood of growth hormone had subsided. It was a moment of profound relief, a quiet victory in a life defined by towering challenges. His body, once a runaway train, had finally, gently, come to a halt. The universe had, at last, decided to end its little biological experiment, granting Sultan a new, stable existence. While the cessation of growth brought immense relief, it didn't erase the years of impact. Sultan still lives with the lingering effects of gigantism, including skeletal issues and mobility challenges. However, the stability has allowed for a different kind of life, one focused on adaptation rather than constant struggle against a growing force. It's a life lived with the aftermath, but also with a renewed sense of control. His existence became less about what his body was doing to him, and more about what he could do with his body. In 2013, Sultan found love and married Merve Dibwa, a woman who, while considerably shorter, shared his dreams and aspirations. Their union was a testament to the fact that love, much like height, transcends conventional measurements. It proved that even when you stand head and shoulders above everyone else, there's still room for profound connection. The challenge of finding someone who literally looks up to you, in every sense of the word, was overcome by a shared bond, proving that even the most extreme outliers can find their perfect match. Sultan Kösen's unique stature has made him an unofficial ambassador, traveling the world, meeting people from all walks of life, and sharing his story. He's met presidents, celebrities, and countless ordinary citizens, often acting as a bridge between the normal and the extraordinary. His gentle demeanor and compelling narrative have helped demystify gigantism, transforming it from a mere medical curiosity into a human story. He carries not just his height, but also the weight of representation, showing the world that even the largest among us are simply human beings. Sultan's life underscores the peculiar human fascination with records, with defining the biggest, fastest, or tallest. It's a system of measurement that simultaneously elevates and labels, turning unique existences into categories. While his height grants him an undeniable place in the annals of human achievement, it also frames his entire being through a single, rather arbitrary, metric. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, produces these outliers, and humanity, in its own peculiar wisdom, feels compelled to measure them, to categorize the wonderfully absurd. Ultimately, Sultan Kösen's story is far more than just a number on a measuring tape. It's the narrative of a man who navigated extraordinary physical challenges with grace and resilience. He is a farmer, a husband, a son, and a friend. His height may define his public persona, but it does not define his intrinsic worth or the depth of his character. Behind the record-breaking stature is a human being with dreams, fears, and a remarkably grounded perspective on a life that is anything but. He reminds us that the true measure of a person is rarely found in inches or centimeters. Sultan Kösen's journey, marked by both struggle and triumph, leaves an indelible mark. His legacy isn't just about holding a record, it's about embodying the human spirit's capacity to adapt, to endure, and to find purpose amidst the most unique of circumstances. He stands as a towering symbol of resilience, a reminder that even when the universe throws an impossibly tall curveball, humanity finds a way to stand, and often to thrive. And in doing so, he has truly touched the sky, and perhaps even a few hearts along the way.